Hi there. Hey, what we're going to do now is we're going to get ready to make our 16 rectangle pre-sketch, our ink drawing. What you're going to need are the two pens that we gave you. Um, they will do the exact same thing for you, but just I gave you two just in case one runs out. You need a pencil, you need a ruler, you need something to make a circle. And it can be a roll of tape like this. It can even be a soup can. That's totally fine too. And you will need two pieces of computer paper, okay? And your final drawing is going to be on the cardstock, the same size paper as computer paper, but is thicker, okay? You'll need that paper too. And our final product is going to look something like this, and there'll be more samples in the Google slideshow. And I'll show you a few samples of things as we go along in this video as well. All right, so I'm going to put these aside for a minute. And what you're going to do is use your two pieces of computer paper. One's going to be your pre-sketch. This one's going to be your measuring tool. Now check this out. All you have to do is fold this in half carefully and as exact as you can. Let me get it off of there. Fold it in half. Get that nice little crease. And this is going to be your measuring tool. So get the edge of the paper on the edge of the paper and move that over just a little bit and make a little mark that's halfway. And do the same thing at the bottom because you're going to have to connect these marks together. Okay, so across, remember, and the paper has to go the long way along with the long way, or the portrait view of the paper. Now we're going to do the same thing again. Fold that paper in half. Get that nice crease right there. Now this paper later you can use to practice some of your textures and patterns and things. We do the same thing. Get it lined up and we make a little mark. And we get it lined up and we make a little mark. Now those two are equal to each other. Do the same thing over on the other side. Let's get it lined up and be careful. You're really lining up nicely right there. And put that marker right there. And again, the same thing on the bottom side. Then we can connect those together. Remember, put your pencil down firmly right there. Tap your ruler against it and then go find the other mark to connect them. Pencil down. And I could connect these after I'm through making all of my marks if I want to. But now I'm going to turn the paper this way. I'm going to unfold the paper. Or actually I can just fold it that way. Unfold it, and then we go the other direction. We're going to find halfway again. And make that nice crease. So we're going to do the same kind of thing here. Get it lined up. Make your mark. Get it lined up. Now you can totally take a ruler and do the math to get all these marks, but this is a foolproof way to do it. Then I'm going to fold that paper in half again and find the corner of the paper, make my mark, do the same thing down here, and you can tell where we're going with this. We have to do the same thing from this corner and the same thing from this corner. And I will quickly connect these. Now this is your pre-sketch. You can make your lines kind of dark. It's totally fine. And here, okay, we have to do 3 more things to our pre-sketch. The first one is to make a pathway that kind of goes from top to bottom. We're going to break up all these straight lines with some organic curved lines. So just pick a spot anywhere and just make a big sweeping kind of line like that. We're going to make another one. A pathway would have two sides. Don't make it really close to that one. Give it a little bit of space out here. And you can also make it a little bit bigger somewhere and let it get a little bit smaller again. See, it gets a little bigger here, and that adds that element of variety. So it's not the exact same the whole way down. The next thing we do is super simple. We can take your circle maker, can of soup, rolling masking tape, something around this size, maybe about the size of the palm of your hand, and you can put this anywhere you want to, but just don't let it go off the edge of the page. Okay, it can bump into your pathway. It can go down here. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to put mine. Right here. Should I go inside or outside? I'm going to go outside. Now, so far, all these lines are supposed to intersect each other, and we're going to leave them that way. Okay? The next is going to be an image that is going to apparently kind of float on top of things. And here's the way you can think about it. I'm going to flash some samples by. So the image here is this flower. And you can see how the lines of the edges of the rectangles, the 16 rectangles, and that pathway that you might see through here, everything stops and gets erased inside that shape. So I'm going to really flash some other ones. Here's that Greek figure. Those lines don't go through there. Here are some that are a little bit more easy to tell. Now, many times I would strongly suggest that we make a little border, and you'll see that a couple more times here. See that Charlie Brown, and he has that little empty space, but the lines get erased, the ones that go through there. Here's one that's kind of light. Here's this illustrated flower, but the lines, the 16 rectangle lines, they got erased that go through. A few more quick samples. There's my dog, Olive. This one is just a sample that got started. But you can see that I chose to do a green border, and then a yellow border that has that scalloped edge. And the lines that we made just a moment ago all get erased that go through that image. That's an idea. You can do things that are a little more realistic or do things that are a little more simplified. That's totally fine. Here I'm setting up this red border to go around it. And this is a place where you can use colored pencil if you want to. You don't have to. We'll talk about that more later in the next video. Here's another flower with a leaf attached. And again, you can see that the lines get erased. All right, quick. Oh, I'm going to show you those later. So that's the next thing that we do on our pre-sketch. You have to decide what that's going to be. Now, my grandkids love dinosaurs, so I'm going to make a dinosaur 16 rectangle. So what you do, if you print out something, that's great. Make it about the size of the palm of your hand. That's a good little size reference. Or if you're kind of a small person, make it a little bit bigger than that. Okay, or it could be, you could think of it as about the size of a roll of masking tape. Okay, some size references for you. If I put my kind of large soup can right next to it, you can see how big that is. Okay, now this is a pre-sketch that I've already kind of put together. It's very much the same as what you just saw. And what I did was I went to my window or a light box. I got this printed. Now, if you want to, you can make something up. Those flowers that I had on those other ones, you can make something up like this if you want to. That's fine. If you can draw something that you like, you can totally make something up, or you can get something online. All I did was I put this up against the window, and I found the place where I liked it to be, and I traced it. Okay, then I organized it so there was kind of this frame, and you don't have to do this, but this is an idea. This frame around it, and look what I did. I made that arm kind of stick out above the frame like it's overlapping. And I did the same thing here. I let the tail appear to come outside the frame, and then I put on another border, and this border did something different. It went around the entire thing, see, around the fingertips and then around the frame. That framing is going to help make this look nice and separate from all the textures and things around it. So if we go back to, let's say, this one, see this black border on this side of the flower? See, that really helps make it separate from this. Where there's no black border, it still separates nicely because it's nice and dark back here. But that border is a good thing to have sometimes. Here, this kind of hidden butterfly has that black border around it, and that kind of helps make it look separate. All right, so once we get all of this laid out, we're going to trace it onto our final paper nice and lightly. And that's where we're going to start the next video. And you can see that the lines that we drew, the 16 rectangle lines, I went in carefully and I erased them. Okay, you can't really see them anymore much, but everything else remains the way it is. Okay, all these lines you don't erase the lines inside the circle. Your image does not go inside your circle. It's separate. That circle is going to kind of break up all those straight lines. So see, here's that circle right up here. See that? You can only tell by how the textures and patterns change. Okay, so that's not a place for your image. That's just a separate item all by itself. All right, so we'll show you some more samples. The slideshow will also have more samples, and then we'll get started on our final one. I still have to trace this one onto my cardstock paper, and then we'll come back in the next video. Alrighty.